So usually when I make these videos, I let a lot of news build up over time, probably about, 2 to 3 weeks, and then I just make one long video talking about everything. But two big name RFAs in Brayden Point and Matthew Tkachuk signed their contract extensions with their respective teams, so I thought that would definitely be enough, and I would have enough to say on each contract to make a video on it. So starting off with Brayden Point, he signed a 3-year, $20.25 million deal with an annual average of $6.75 million, and just at first glance, this looks like an amazing contract for Brayden Point, and it obviously is. It's a very team-friendly deal for the Tampa Bay Lightning for a kid who just had 40-plus goals and 90-plus points. He was amazing and is arguably already like a top 10, top 15 center in the entire NHL. That is how good Brayden Point is. Now the contract, how it's based out and how everything works is he will have a base salary of $1 million in the first year, $2.5 million in the second year, and $9 million in the third year. The total salary year by year is $5.25 in year 1, $6 million in year 2, and then $9 million in year 3, so he will still be an RFA at the end of this contract, and the qualifying offer for Brayden Point will have to be started at $9 million. It's kind of like the Timo Meier contract, but for that contract, the qualifying offer is like $10 million or something like that, and even $9 million for Brayden Point, like I think after these 3 years especially, Tampa Bay will be more than willing to do that, and probably more. I think he'll be a guy that definitely is above $10 million by the time this contract comes to an end, because that is how good Brayden Point is. He's a massive part to this Tampa Bay team, and it really is good that they now have him under contract for training camp, and it's just another one of those big name RFAs off the board and ready to focus on the season and not focus on the contract negotiations and money and term and all that type of stuff. And for Brayden Point signing this deal, I wonder how it's going to affect the guys like Mikko Rantanen, Kyle Connor, and Patrik Laine, who are still without a contract, because you look at a guy like Brayden Point who had a better year than all three of those guys in my opinion. So it is going to be very interesting to see what Rantanen's contract looks like whenever he signs, and same goes for Kyle Connor and Patrik Laine, because I feel like this definitely does play a factor, because if you're Joe Sakic, you can look at Mikko Rantanen and say, look at what Brayden Point signed for. I think we're only going to try to get you under contract at around $7.5, $8 million. I think the chances of him getting over $9 mil or even $9 mil in itself are definitely a lot more slim after Brayden Point signing. So it is going to be another interesting couple of weeks. We only really have 3 other big name RFAs that I already mentioned in Patrik Laine, Kyle Connor, and Mikko Rantanen. Hopefully they can all sign before the season starts, because it definitely is frustrating to see holdouts. The one player I think remaining, if I had to say one will hold out, it'll probably be Patrik Laine, just because of everything going on there. But nonetheless, that's all I really have to say about the Brayden Point contract, and now let's move on to talk about Matthew Tkachuk. So earlier today, the Calgary Flames signed Matthew Tkachuk to a 3-year, $21 million contract, a $7 million annual average, and that annual average for Matthew Tkachuk I think is very good. He just had a fantastic season. He's already, in my opinion, one of the top wingers in the league when you just look at his complete game, and to go along with that complete game, he put up really good offensive numbers this past season. So Matthew Tkachuk's contract, how it works out, his total salary earned in year 1 is $5 million, year 2 is $7 million, and then in year 3 it is $9 million, and I believe that is the most a Calgary Flame player has ever been paid in one season, or will be paid in one season. That $9 million he will make in the 2021-22 season, so that definitely is high praise for Matthew Tkachuk, and this Calgary team definitely believes in him. It's a bridge contract. He will be a restricted free agent when this comes to an end, and if Matt Tkachuk continues to build off of this past season and he becomes like a consistent 40 goal scorer and like a point per game guy, he will definitely be in for a significant raise from the Calgary Flames at the end of this 3-year deal. And if you're a fan of the Flames, how do you feel about this contract? Like I said when first talking about it, I think this is definitely fair just based off what he did this past season, and it's not just his offensive numbers either. He's an all-around player. He's physical, he gets under the skin of the opponent, and he's definitely a guy you want on your team, and it is nice that they are going to have him under contract and in the lineup come opening night, because he is a really big part of this team, and they had to get him signed if they wanted to have any chance of replicating the year that they just had in this past season. And this is another case where I'm thinking, how is this going to affect some other guys? Because unlike Brayden Point, Matthew Tkachuk is a winger. Same goes for Kyle Connor, Patrik Laine, and Mikko Rantanen. So I wonder how that is going to affect their negotiations negotiations because Tkachuk had a better year than definitely Kyle Connor and definitely Patrick Laine. So maybe Kevin Cheveldayoff is going to look at this deal and say, hey Laine, hey Connor, you're not getting over $7 million because look at Matthew Tkachuk's deal. But I don't even really know how much of a part that plays into negotiations, but it definitely does make for some good conversation, and I guess at this point we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with the 3 other big name remaining RFAs, and hopefully they can get under contract before the season starts because they're young and exciting players, and you never like to see stuff like that happen. The William Nylander thing from last year was definitely really frustrating, and hopefully in the next couple of days we will see all of the remaining RFAs signed and we can finally just focus on opening night and not focus on all the contract and the money and the term that we've basically been focusing on all summer. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. It was just kind of a quick little video, and I wanted to post something today, and like I said, I think I had enough to say about both of these deals to make it into one video. Hopefully Rantanen and Laine and Connor sign in the coming days, and once all 3 of those guys are under contract, I will make a video talking about them as well. Expect another ranking draft picks video tomorrow. I'm going to do the number 4 picks all the way up until 10 eventually, and then finish off that series with the number 1 pick. So a lot of stuff going on the channel, and like I said, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.